How many times, Falcons fans, have we dared to dream, only to be crushed by the same old nightmare? Is it truly possible that the football gods have cursed us, condemning our beloved Atlanta Falcons to an eternity of watching opposing quarterbacks stand untouched in the pocket, picking apart our secondary with surgical precision? For what feels like a geological epic stretching across seasons and generations, this franchise has been locked in a Sisyphean struggle, pushing the boulder of a dominant pass rush uphill, only to watch it roll back down season after agonizing season. We've poured draft capital into it, lavished free agent dollars on it, and whispered desperate prayers into the gridiron winds, all in pursuit of that elusive, game-altering defensive front. Yet more often than not, we're left with the bitter taste of almost a defensive unit that raises more questions than it provides answers. This offseason, the front office, seemingly weary of the same old narrative, doubled down on their commitment, investing heavily in a pair of electrifying rookie edge rushers. The optimism, however fragile, began to bloom. But now, as the preseason lights flicker on and the first whispers of live action echo through the stadiums, a chilling, all-too-familiar question emerges from the depths of our collective memory. Have we, at long last, truly solved the pass rush riddle? Or are we merely setting the stage for another agonizing chapter in our perpetual saga, a cruel déjà vu destined to repeat itself? This skepticism, dear friends, isn't born of cynicism. It's forged in the crucible of painful, repeated experience. It's the scar tissue of a fan base that has seen this movie before, and we are desperate for a different ending. For years, the Atlanta Falcons' inability to consistently harass and pressure opposing quarterbacks has been the glaring, festering Achilles heel of our defense. It's a fundamental flaw that has undermined countless promising defensive schemes, leaving our secondary exposed, our linebackers scrambling, and our coaches tearing their hair out in frustration. Imagine, if you will, a grand orchestra meticulously assembled with world-class musicians, each virtuoso in their own right, but missing the crucial percussion section, the booming drums, the crashing cymbals that provide rhythm, power, and a visceral sense of impending doom. That, for too long, has been the Atlanta Falcons' defense. We've had talented pieces, individual brilliance scattered across the field, but without that consistent, disruptive pass rush, the entire symphony has fallen flat, lacking the crescendo, the impact, the sheer force that truly elite defenses command. General Manager Terry Fontenot and the coaching staff, acutely aware of this historical deficiency and the collective angst it has caused, made it unequivocally clear this past offseason. The pass rush was not just a priority, it was the priority. They went all in, making a bold statement by selecting Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. in the early rounds of the draft. These aren't just names on a roster, they are two electrifying talents, raw yet bursting with potential, chosen with the fervent hope that their explosive speed and rare athleticism would finally ignite the dormant fires of Atlanta's defensive line. The vision is vivid, almost cinematic. Unleash these speed demons off the edge, allow them to bend and explode around tackles, creating unadulterated chaos in the backfield, fundamentally altering the very complexion of our defense. It's a vision of relentless pursuit of quarterbacks scrambling for their lives, of a defensive line that no longer just holds the line, but actively dictates the tempo of the game, forcing offenses into uncomfortable, hurried decisions. But even as the ink dries on their rookie contracts, even as the excitement surrounding their potential still buzzes in the air, a new, intriguing conversation is already bubbling to the surface. It's a conversation that suggests the Falcons' quest for pass-rushing supremacy might be far from over, a strategic chess move still waiting to be played. Bleacher Report's astute analyst Alex Ballantyne, a mind known for his insightful yet often provocative takes, has thrown a fascinating curveball into the mix. He proposes that come the 2026 offseason, Atlanta could, and perhaps should, once again be in the market for an edge rusher. And not just any edge rusher, mind you, but a very specific type, a veteran power rusher, a player who could provide the crucial, bruising counterbalance to the speed-centric approach currently being cultivated with Walker and Pierce. Enter John Franklin Myers. The name might not send shockwaves through the league. It might not be a household name like some of the league's perennial sack leaders. But his profile, his very essence as a defensive lineman, is precisely what Ballantyne argues the Falcons will need to complete their defensive puzzle. Standing at a formidable 6 feet 4 inches and weighing in at a rock-solid 289 pounds, Franklin Myers is the physical embodiment of a power rusher. He's not about finesse, he's about brute strength, about consistently winning at the point of attack. He's a player who can set a dominant edge against the run, collapsing the pocket from the interior with sheer force, pushing offensive linemen into the quarterback's lap. This is a stark yet beautiful contrast to the fluid bend and explosive burst of a Jalen Walker or a James Pierce Jr. Imagine. For a moment, the possibilities. It's a defensive coordinator's dream, a strategic chess match unfolding on the field. You can unleash pure, unadulterated speed on one side, a blur of athleticism designed to get around the edge, while simultaneously deploying raw, unyielding power on the other, designed to push the pocket straight back. This dynamic duo would keep opposing offensive lines constantly off balance, forcing them to guess, to react, to make impossible choices. Furthermore, Franklin Myers' invaluable versatility to kick inside to defensive tackle, if necessary, adds another profound layer of strategic flexibility. This allows the Falcons to craft truly creative and unpredictable defensive fronts, shifting alignments, disguising blitzes, and generating pressure from every conceivable angle. It's about building a defensive line that is not just talented but truly versatile, a chameleon of chaos capable of adapting to any offensive scheme. His 2024 season was a resounding testament to his burgeoning potential, a career year where he didn't just meet expectations, he shattered them, notching personal bests across the board. 40 tackles, a robust 8 tackles for loss, and a formidable 7 sacks. These aren't just numbers on a stat sheet, they are a declaration of intent, a clear, undeniable signal that Franklin Myers is hitting his prime, evolving into a force to be reckoned with, a player who can single-handedly disrupt an offense's rhythm. If he can build on that performance, if he can continue his upward trajectory, his stock will undoubtedly soar, making him one of the most coveted veteran pass rushers on the market. He's the kind of proven commodity that can anchor a defensive line, providing not just sacks, but consistent pressure and a veteran presence that can mentor younger players. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the very foundation of the Falcons' immediate defensive hopes, the rookies. The entire defensive strategy for 2025, the very trajectory of this team, hinges on Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. living up to their considerable first-round hype. If they explode onto the scene, becoming the dynamic, disruptive forces the Falcons envision, then perhaps the immediate need for another veteran edge rusher diminishes. If they become the twin engines of destruction, then the future looks bright indeed. But what if they don't? What if the learning curve in the unforgiving NFL is steeper than anticipated? What if injuries, those cruel arbiters of fate, derail their progress, even temporarily? The harsh reality of the NFL is that even top draft picks, those heralded saviors, are not guaranteed successes. The road from college phenom to NFL star is paved with unforeseen challenges and unexpected setbacks. And with general manager Terry Fontenot potentially staring down the barrel of a hot seat if the team doesn't show significant, tangible improvement this season, the stakes couldn't be higher. The luxury of waiting for potential to materialize, of patiently nurturing young talent, might simply not be an option. The pressure to win and win now is immense. This brings us back full circle to the 2026 offseason, a period that could prove to be absolutely pivotal for the Falcons' defensive identity, a moment of truth where long-term vision meets immediate necessity. While the free agent market is always a fluctuating, unpredictable landscape, a swirling vortex of supply and demand, Franklin Myers' current situation with the Broncos makes him a particularly intriguing target. He's currently in the second year of a 2-year, $15 million deal, a contract that, given his breakout 2024 performance, has been nothing short of a colossal bargain for Denver. However, his conspicuous absence from OTAs this offseason speaks volumes, echoing louder than any verbal declaration. It's a clear, unmistakable signal that he's eyeing a new, far more lucrative contract, one that truly reflects his burgeoning market value. Spotrac, the authoritative voice in NFL contract projections, estimates that value to be in the neighborhood of $17.5 million annually, a significant jump, yes, but one that could be well worth it for a team desperate for a proven commodity, a player who can deliver immediate impact. The Broncos, facing their own financial constraints and potentially looking to embark on a full-scale rebuild, might be open to moving Franklin Myers even before his current deal expires. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report has already identified him as a prime trade candidate, citing the harsh financial realities of the NFL and the fact that Franklin Myers, turning 29 in September, might not fit into Denver's long-term building plans, which often prioritize younger, cheaper talent. This opens up a fascinating, tantalizing possibility. Could the Falcons acquire him via trade even sooner? Perhaps even before the 2025 season truly kicks into high gear, circumventing the free agency frenzy? Or will they patiently wait for him to hit the open market in 2026, risking a bidding war? Either way, the strategic fit, the complementary nature of his skill set to what the Falcons are building is undeniable. Ultimately, the discussion around John Franklin Myers isn't about a failure of the rookie class, nor is it a pessimistic indictment of the Falcons' recent draft strategy. Rather, it's a recognition of the complex, multifaceted nature of building a truly elite pass rush in the modern NFL. It's a nuanced understanding that even if Walker and Pierce become the dynamic speed rushers the Falcons desperately need, the addition of a powerful, experienced veteran like Franklin Myers would elevate the entire unit to an entirely different plane. He provides the missing ingredient, the complementary piece that could transform a promising but potentially one-dimensional pass rush into a truly fearsome and balanced force. This isn't just about adding another body to the rotation. It's about strategic synergy, about creating a defensive line that can attack offenses from every conceivable angle with a potent blend of speed, power, and relentless, suffocating pressure. The Falcons' journey to a dominant pass rush has been a winding, often frustrating road marked by detours and dead ends. But the potential addition of a player like John Franklin Myers represents a tangible strategic step towards finally achieving that long-sought-after goal, that defensive masterpiece we've all been dreaming of. It's a move that could not only solidify the defense, making them a force to be reckoned with, but also provide the critical balance needed to unlock the full explosive potential of their exciting young talent. The blueprint for success for a truly dominant defensive line is becoming clearer by the day. So, what do you think, Falcons Nation? Is John Franklin Myers the undeniable missing piece to our pass rush puzzle? The veteran anchor that will finally complete our defensive masterpiece? Or should we put all our faith, all our hopes, solely in the electrifying potential of our rookie duo? Let us know your thoughts, your predictions, and your deepest desires for this Falcons defense in the comments below. And if this deep dive into the Falcons' defensive future, this blend of skepticism and soaring hope resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more exclusive reports and passionate analysis. Let's keep this conversation going, because the future of our Falcons defense depends on it. Are you absolutely furious, Falcons faithful? Are you utterly exasperated by the sight of opposing quarterbacks having all the time in the world, practically setting up a picnic in the pocket while our defensive line struggles to generate any real, consistent pressure? Have you yearned with every fiber of your being for that game-changing, heart-stopping force that could finally elevate our defense from merely respectable to truly terrifying? Because if you have, then brace yourselves. The whispers from the NFL's inner sanctum are growing louder, evolving into a roar, and they're pointing directly to a potential seismic shift that could redefine the Atlanta Falcons' defensive identity forever. For what has felt like an eternity, the Atlanta Falcons have been on a relentless, often frustrating quest for that elusive, dominant pass rusher. It's been a pursuit that has, at times, felt like chasing a mirage in the desert, tantalizingly close, yet always just out of reach. We've witnessed flashes, moments of individual brilliance that ignite hope, but never the consistent, game-wrecking presence that truly strikes fear into the hearts of opposing offensive coordinators. This past offseason, our front office under the astute guidance of Terry Fontenot, invested heavily, bringing in seasoned veterans like Leonard Floyd and Morgan Fox. These moves signaled a clear, undeniable intent to bolster the defensive line and finally address this glaring weakness. Yet, despite these significant efforts, the cold, hard truth from analytics giants like Pro Football Focus still stings. Our unit, even with these additions, is ranked perilously close to the bottom of the league in terms of pass rush efficiency. It's a stark, undeniable reminder that even with substantial resources poured in, the pass rush remains a glaring Achilles heel, a vulnerability that could derail even the most promising of seasons. It's a chasm that needs to be bridged, and quickly, before our championship aspirations crumble. But what if I told you there's a storm brewing in Cincinnati? A tempest of contractual discontent that could unleash one of the league's most prolific sack artists directly into our waiting arms, transforming our defensive fortunes overnight. While the national spotlight has been fixated on Micah Parsons' high-stakes holdout in Dallas, another equally impactful saga has been unfolding quietly, yet with immense implications for the entire NFL landscape. We're talking about Trey Hendrickson, the Cincinnati Bengals' undisputed sack king. This is a man who has made a living turning quarterback dreams into nightmares, consistently collapsing pockets and disrupting offenses with a ferocity rarely seen. He's shown up to training camp, yes, but he's been conspicuously absent from the practice field, a silent protest in street clothes, a clear signal that his current contract simply doesn't reflect his monumental value. And as the preseason clock ticks relentlessly closer to kickoff, the calls for the Falcons to make a bold, decisive move are growing into a roar, a collective cry from a fan base desperate for a defensive game-changer. Imagine for a moment the sheer, unadulterated chaos that Trey Hendrickson could unleash in a Falcons uniform. This isn't just about adding another body to the rotation. It's about injecting pure, unadulterated dynamite into a unit desperately craving an explosion. While my colleague already delved into the tantalizing, albeit complex, possibility of acquiring Parsons yesterday, today our focus sharpens on Hendrickson, a player who, frankly, could have an even more immediate and transformative impact on our defense. Grayson Freestone, a keen observer of the Falcons for Fansided's Blogging Dirty, didn't mince words this morning when he compiled his definitive list of top trade targets. Unsurprisingly, with a conviction that resonates with every frustrated Falcons fan, Trey Hendrickson stood alone at the summit. Trey Hendrickson will be headlining trade lists until the Bengals can decide on whether they want to pay him or trade him, Freestone asserted, his words echoing the sentiment of a fan base hungry for a game-changer. For the Falcons' sake, they hope it is the latter. The situation in Cincinnati is a delicate dance, a high-stakes negotiation where every step is scrutinized. It's entirely plausible, of course, that Hendrickson and the Bengals will eventually find common ground, that a new deal will be struck, and that this formidable pass rusher will remain in the AFC North. But as of this very moment, no agreement has been reached, and the tension is palpable. Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, a man with an uncanny knack for unearthing the inner workings of NFL front offices, believes the Bengals are presumably not thrilled about Hendrickson's hold-in. The evidence, Florio suggests, lies in the Bengals' own depth chart. Despite being inarguably one of the premier pass rushers in the entire league, Trey Hendrickson is currently listed at a baffling number 3. Joseph Ossai and Cam Sample, talented players in their own right, currently occupy the top 2 spots. This depth chart placement, whether a strategic negotiating tactic or a genuine reflection of the Bengals' frustration, speaks volumes. If an agreement is reached, Hendrickson will undoubtedly reclaim his rightful number 1 spot. But that if hangs heavy in the air, a question mark hovering over the Bengals' immediate future. The crux of the matter, as Florio further illuminates, boils down to the structure and the guarantees of a new contract. It's a tale as old as time in professional sports. A player seeking the financial security and respect commensurate with their elite performance, and a team grappling with salary cap implications and long-term roster planning. While it's unclear whether the Bengals are levying fines against Hendrickson for his absence from practice, one thing is crystal clear. The start of the regular season is barreling down on us, and the window for a resolution or a trade is rapidly closing. And what a resolution it could be for the Atlanta Falcons. Let's talk numbers, because numbers don't lie. Trey Hendrickson has been an absolute statistical marvel, leading the entire league with a staggering 35 sacks over the past 2 seasons, an eye-popping 17.5 in each. Now consider this sobering fact. The Falcons as an entire team managed a paltry 31 sacks last year. Let that sink in. One man on his own has outsacked our entire defensive unit over the past 2 years, and it's been nearly a decade since a single Falcon has even cracked double-digit sacks. The drought is real, the need is desperate, and the solution in the form of Trey Hendrickson seems to be dangling tantalizingly within reach. As Freestone so aptly put it, Hendrickson could be the massive cherry on top of the position's retooling, transforming our defensive line from a unit of potential to a force of nature. While Hendrickson undoubtedly represents the crown jewel of potential trade targets, Freestone's insightful list extends beyond the immediate, offering a glimpse into other intriguing possibilities that could reshape the Falcons roster. Among them are 2 former top 10 draft picks, players who, while perhaps not offering the immediate overwhelming impact of Hendrickson, represent significant long-term upside. First, there's Kayvon Thibodeaux, the dynamic pass rusher from the New York Giants. Acquiring a player of Thibodeaux's caliber, a former top 10 pick with immense potential, would undoubtedly demand a significant haul of assets from the Falcons. But as Freestone suggests, it's a call worth making, a market worth exploring for a player he describes as a phenomenal rotational piece. While Thibodeaux might not yet possess Hendrickson's established, league-leading resume, his youth and raw talent are undeniable. He has, as Freestone points out, shown real flashes of becoming the league's next dominant pass rusher. This would be a move for the future, a strategic investment in a player who could grow into a cornerstone of our defense for years to come. Then there's the intriguing, albeit slightly more unconventional, suggestion of Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis. Levis, who underwent season-ending shoulder surgery this offseason, might seem like an odd fit for a team that just invested heavily in Michael Penix Jr. and has Kirk Cousins at the helm. However, Freestone's logic is compelling. They should buy while the stock is low. The idea here is a long-term play, stashing Levis on injured reserve with the hope that he could develop into a solid backup to Penix Jr. once Kirk Cousins eventually moves on. It's a move that speaks to foresight, to building a robust quarterback room for the years ahead, ensuring stability and depth at the most crucial position on the field. Finally, Freestone's list rounds out with Chicago Bears tight end Cole Kmet, a potential target that hints at another significant roster shakeup. The Bears' decision to select tight end Colston Loveland with the number 10 overall pick in this April's draft sent a clear signal. Chicago might be ready to move on from Kmet. And in a fascinating twist, the Falcons have their own first-round tight end, who has been the subject of intense speculation, Kyle Pitts. Whether or not the Falcons trade Kyle Pitts remains to be seen, Freestone wrote, acknowledging the ongoing uncertainty. But one thing is for sure, they need to find his replacement because his days in Atlanta are dwindling. This suggests a potential swap, or at least a recognition that the tight end position could see a significant overhaul in Atlanta, adding yet another layer of intrigue to the Falcons' offseason machinations. As the preseason marches on and the regular season looms large, all eyes will be on Cincinnati and the unfolding saga of Trey Hendrickson. Will the Bengals break the bank to keep their star? Or will they perhaps reluctantly make him available to the highest bidder? If, and it's a big if, the disgruntled edge rusher becomes truly available, the Atlanta Falcons must, without a moment's hesitation, pick up the phone and immediately inquire about the price. Because the opportunity to acquire a player of Hendrickson's caliber, a player who could single-handedly transform our pass rush and elevate our defense to truly elite status, is a chance we simply cannot afford to miss. This isn't just about winning games. It's about igniting a passion, inspiring a belief, and finally giving the Falcons faithful the dominant defense they've so desperately craved. So, what do you think, Falcons fans? Is Trey Hendrickson the missing piece to our defensive puzzle? Could he be the one to finally bring that consistent, game-changing pressure we've been dreaming of? Let us know your thoughts, your hopes, and your wildest trade scenarios in the comments below. And if you're as excited as we are about the potential for a truly dominant Falcons defense, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all the latest breaking news and in-depth analysis. Your passion fuels our coverage, and we can't wait to hear your take on this potentially monumental shift